So welcome everyone. This is March 14th, Saturday, 2015. Today here we are on this part 3 of the wealth series, and today we're going to cover the emotional wealth. The emotional wealth. Before going into that, it's a lot of information flowing through for me today. So let's do some alignment work, some prayer work to just bring us to a sense of inner peace, inner stillness, so that we are able to absorb the information and light much more gracefully. To the Supreme Essence, Divine Father and Divine Mother, our spiritual teachers, all the spiritual teachers, Holy Masters, Holy Saints, Holy Archangels, Elohim Masters, beings of light, and all the great ones, we humbly invoke for divine guidance, divine love, illumination, divine oneness, abundance, peace, prosperity, spirituality, harmony, inner healing, divine help, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. Allowing this power of the sound and the words to anchor the light. Ebzanaya Sarasai Zalasashi Karasash. Vastanaya Sarasahia Masarazaya Starasashi Starasashastaka. Eberesishistini Sishi Eberesishi Sikarasashu Stalasasha. Vazamuradaya Starasashistakara. Visualizing in your mind's eye the very hologram of your body blazing with pure white light to the inside out. Let this light flow forward into infinity, flow backward into infinity, flow from the sides, the left and right, into infinity. A cosmic Shivlingam, a cosmic sphere of light. Let your inner light blaze through all of eternity, all of infinity, all to your past, future, and parallel experiences of all the aspects of yourself that you know and that you do not know as yourself. Let the light blaze upwards as well from your head into eternity, and from the soles of your feet into the core of the Ma. 360 degrees, complete alignment, aligning the very meridians of the soul body, preparing, holding the space for the light body to be anchored. Mayayu, mayayi, ayi, ayi, ayi. 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 You may want to chant along the song of the Spirit given to me a few months back in one of the journeys. It's a song of the return to love, a return to the heart of the cosmos. The tune seems very native, very original, primordial. Please sing along. Mayayu, mayayi, ayi, ayi, ayi. 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 Let go. Become one with the inner light. I'm going to remain quiet for a while. The sacred inner light, blazing true and true. Please repeat together, holding this hologram of your body in your mind's eye. Please repeat together. I, the soul, command my body to return to the norm of the Creator. I, the soul, command my body to return to the norm of the Creator. I, the soul, command my mind to return to the norm of the Creator. I, the soul, command my mind to return to the norm of the Creator. I, the soul, command my heart to return to the norm of the Creator. I, the soul, command my heart to return to the norm of the Creator. Every single cell of my body is filled with blazing light. My blood is filled with light and life. My nervous system is harmonized and aligned. My brain is illuminated with the purest white light of my Creator. I invoke the light of eternity in my home, transforming any and all misaligned information. For I, the soul, knows that the Creator is pure light, prosperity, goodness, and eternity. Some of your bodies are vibrating. Whatever happens during the session, physically, emotionally, or mentally, allow it to flow through. Do not hold back. Today's transmission is coming up very, very strongly. Become aware of the hologram of your heart. See a beautiful green and pink light emanating to your heart that connects you with the very heartbeat of the Mother, the provider of all, the Shakti. And let this green and pink energies cocoon you, anchoring your consciousness in this time stream of now, of where you started the session. Feel the green and pink light densifying. In your mind's eye, return to your space where you started. Turning back to your throat, your breath. You just experienced an expansion of the consciousness. Moving your fingers and your toes. And opening your eyes. You can live in this state even with the eyes open. It is just the idea, belief of separation that thinks if I open my eyes I will lose the magic. So, welcome once again. I hope you understand that these sessions are not meant while driving or operating heavy machinery, doing something else, trying to manage something. Remember, two of our members at Oasis, they loved our sessions, but they simply wanted to, and they would try to attend half of the session and then half of the not. They were not able to, or they were talking with others thinking that they will receive something. Of course they did receive something, but it was just like your home where the electric voltage is going fluctuating. You can imagine what could happen with the consciousness, right? If this keeps happening, there would be a short circuit. And of course, these people did not last long with the members at Oasis. It's not judgment to them, but just an explanation of the science to all of you that light is very sensitive, that you do not play with the light, and that whenever you are following any healing modality or a technique or a particular teacher, you really listen to. If you do not, you don't get the results. Alright, so here we are. The emotional wealth of being, the third part of the series. It seems the more densified we are going, the more intense we are going at the same time. Thank you for amazing love, amazing feedback, your messages, your comments. Everything is read, everything is appreciated. And thank you so much for telling to your friends about our YouTube channel, about the newsletters. We have started with a newsletter thing. You can go to facebook.com/OLO888. You don't need to be on Facebook. You can just type this address and when you reach the fan page, you click on welcome, and when you click on welcome, you would be prompted to submit your name and your email address so that you can continue to receive details about our public service webinars. We have started to do group healings for people, and there's also a thing known as the white light grid. So if you're on Facebook, feel free to add me. I'll guide you ahead. But if you're not, then just drop me a message that you would like to know the details of the white light grid, and I'd be very happy to send it out to you. The white light grid is really a powerful combination and integration of the energies of the Keeper crystals. These Keeper crystals started to be revealed to mankind very recently, I would say past 30 years or so, much more actively, where these were huge crystals, not just the regular crystals or cut crystals. These were natural, huge crystals unearthed from the excavations or something. And I believe one of these elders, these Keeper crystals, is at Hawaii as well. It is seen as a Shivalingam, and I'm forgetting the name of the person who saw this in a dream, but if you're aware, there's a very famous Shiva temple in Hawaii, US, and they connect with that energy, and I sense it's a very evolved Keeper crystal, not just a Keeper crystal, but very evolved Keeper crystal. So these crystals hold the very record, the very library of the information for mankind to be revealed by and by as mankind matures into its understanding of its infinite, loving, powerful, wise self. If not, then these technologies are simply, I won't say the word hidden, but not accessible. That's what I would say. It's that just the frequency doesn't match like the radio or the television. So when mankind opens up to more and more of these higher frequencies, we will experience more of technology, more of evolved technology that helps us to have a more active connection, co-creation with Source. So take a deep breath. Sometimes my words might fall out. It might seem like, what is he talking about? It's just the energy. Words are just formality. Every time I come here, I make sure that it's as grounded as possible. It's as easy as possible. If you don't understand, that's fine. You're not asked to understand all of it. That's okay. But with time, by and by, you will begin to integrate. So the emotional wealth. We discussed different forms of wealth. The previous series, the part 1, spiritual wealth, the part 2, the mental wealth, is uploaded at YouTube, and I hope you have listened to it at least once while you're listening to this one, the part 3, emotional wealth. The emotional wealth, let's go ahead with you. Although I've written 5 words here, which we're going to discuss in theory, but I would like to see you. What is emotional wealth for you? What do you think is emotional wealth? Okay, you describe to me in one word or phrases. Don't try to explain, but just one word or phrases. That would help us all. All right, so hi Jennifer, can you hear me?
Hi, Namada.
Hello. So, what is emotional wealth for you? How would you word emotional wealth?
How would I? Wow, that's a tough question, but I would say perhaps balanced.
Balanced?
Feeling like my masculine and feminine energies are balanced.
Mm-hmm. More creative.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, creative is a good word. Yeah.
Creative. All right. Thank you. Yes, they say that God created universe out of joy, and when we embody this essence of joy, like children, we are able to co-create more. If you've ever worked with the energies of, let's say entrepreneurs even, let's say someone is having a bakery business or something, that enthusiasm literally is very, very infectious. It attracts clients, even when they don't have a solid marketing foundation. So joy is so much important for co-creation of all types, including business. These teachings which you are anchoring are multidimensional. You can understand them from different levels and different dimensions. All right. Let's see. I'm not so sure. Hi, Janet. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So, what is emotional wealth for you?
Having a balanced mind and keeping happiness and mindfulness of positive me.
Mindfulness, happiness, balance. Great. Thank you. Yes, today in the transmission, as you were working with the white light, I saw the brain merging with the heart and the heart merging with the brain, and really anchoring the knowingness of being able to feel from the head and think from the heart. I think that is also a big part of not only the emotional but also the mental wealth. Let's see. Hi, Ruchi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi. So what is
Yeah,
emotional
Namrata.
wealth for you?
For me, for me, it is like when your heart is full of unconditional love, mercy, and compassion, and the bliss of God.
Absolutely. Delicious. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, mercy, bliss, and compassion, oneness with God, getting high with that God energy. When you really begin to enjoy your oneness, I got to know recently that the very word virgin is not necessarily having no sexual experience, but it's more of the oneness, the one who practices oneness with God, the brahmacharya, the one who is one, the one who is virgin, the one who is pure, one who recognizes his or her own innocence, purity, by being one with God, by experiencing oneness with God. So if you look back into the ancient cultures where there was a tradition of the virgin priest or the virgin priestesses, especially in the Egyptian cultures, you would see they would have families. Still, they would have families. But they were revered as the capital V virgins. However, this concept somehow got deteriorated. How do you spell that? It got misaligned, I would say. Right? And that's where the problem comes up, when the holy teachings are misaligned, or you can say there's a static going on that creates a lot of misalignment. The way is to tune into the heart, into the God within, and we begin to hear and see the very words of all the prophets of all timelines, of all the holy messages of every single religion and more, without judgment, without feeling separation. All right. So today I have noted down 5 points actually about, today's class might extend a bit longer. There is a lot to the emotional wealth. We are going to cover all of that in the 9 days of journey by the end of this month. To be part of it, you will need to finish the physical, emotional, mental alchemy and the golden frequency journey as well. Because last time in the mental wealth, we did allow some of you to enter, but the transformation was powerful, but it's like the spiritual muscles were not so prepared, and that resulted in some of the ab reactions, if you would say. It was not intense, but yes, it was strong, and my way is not to just work with the high frequency energies all the time. It's more about graceful absorption of the light and information into the soul, into the beingness. So for this particular journey, the emotional wealth, we have created a so-called quote-unquote barrier that you have to be trained, received these journeys, physical, emotional, mental alchemy, and the golden workshop to come there. All right. So The first one I would like to work with is the forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what they did to you was okay. It simply means that you're no longer willing to carry that burden because it's heavy, because you love yourself. It also means forgiving your own self of any and all mistakes, literally any and all. We're not perfect beings, are we? We're perfect in the soul, in the pure consciousness, but as personality, we all make mistakes, right? So, forgiving yourself about that as well, forgiving the past, just letting it go. I think all of the spiritual organizations that I had been a part of, I think all of them emphasize a lot about forgiveness, some less, some more. Personally, I believe that forgiveness is really the start of the opening of abundance, of prosperity, of healing. Without forgiveness, one cannot expect true healing or good luck to flow into one's life, because that unforgiveness that creates so many holes in the aura, allowing so-called nasty beings from the inner world's energy world to enter you, that you just cannot have peace of mind. And that is like a vicious cycle that keeps on and on and on. Sometimes I've seen the cycle going on and on for an entire lifetime, or sometimes for even generations. The so-called hatred about a particular idea, topic, or what something happened in the past, it keeps going on and on, on and on, on and on from generation to generation, and they have no idea what's blocking them. Forgiveness is really the virtue of the brave, the people who are willing to say, all right, I'm done with it, and now I choose to see beyond it, to experience beyond it. I would like to explore that land of light. Forgiveness is literally the water which can make the fields where you are, all the quantum fields where you are, greener. They say the grass is greener on the other side, but if you are quote-unquote capital L lazy like me, you can always water the fields where you are and create a good harvest, because you don't know, you never know what's going to be on that side, right? So that forgiveness is literally about creating a new life, or creating a new personality. In the Karma workshop, it is almost like a 5-week, 1.5-month workshop. We had organized Only Twice. We would be organizing that possibly 2 years after this recording, when we will be guided. We have found people claiming that literally their bodies change. They look a lot younger, they feel a lot lighter. There's a lot more. In my own journey of self-healing, as some of you are aware, many of you are aware, that how the doctors said that, this kid is not going to be normal and he would have to live on medication, not meditation, medication his entire life, and they would have limitation, etc., etc. But by grace, I was able to walk on the path, continue on the path, and got some results working with the equation of grace. So in my own journey, forgiveness was a very powerful turning point. It almost provided a catapulting, although I was doing the energy healing work, but it provided like a catapult force in my healing, in my restoration of health on all levels, not just physically. Forgiveness is an ongoing process. It's not that you do a workshop, then you forget about forgiveness. You hear something about forgiveness, then you try to figure it out, and a part of you is going, oh, I just cannot forgive that person for that particular event. Yes, I understand. This topic is very sensitive and requires an entire workshop on its own. It's not a justice to try to explain forgiveness here, but I'm just explaining here as just part of the emotional wealth. So the ability to forgive, the ability to feel that freedom, to let go of that karmic cords. The next one is mercy. The energy of mercy is extremely refined. Many of the teachers claim that the energy of mercy is far more powerful than the brilliant white light. The brilliant white light that we experience in the meditations, or when we experience the oneness with God, sometimes we experience this feeling of lightening up, right? We feel carried upwards, but then a point comes where we start to go back down. That luggage, that baggage is basically the unforgiveness, the qualities of the personality which needs to be transformed in the light of our higher self. I rarely like to use the word should or need, but sometimes it is just the way it is. You just have to use it. So to experience more of expansion of consciousness, forgiveness is absolutely important. Forgiveness and character purification. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It simply means that you asking yourself every now and then, how do I express my divinity in this moment of now more and more? It's not about becoming a saint, although it sounds like that, but it's really about experiencing your freedom, your infinite potential. Taking a full deep breath. During the session, I would ask you to take regular full deep breaths, because even this lecture is like a transmission. It's going into your cells, your DNA, it's sparking, it's causing some response. Sometimes the soul responds with yes, or sometimes it responds with extreme resistance. But it does respond. So the second one is the energy of mercy. It is not exactly the energy of compassion, although I would have loved to include compassion in today's topic as well. It is also an aspect of the emotional wealth. But mercy is basically, you can say it is forgiveness, mercy, and compassion are like the cousins of one family. But mercy is really about, what I'm hearing the word right now is clemency. How many of you have heard this word clemency in courtrooms or legal matters? Clemency? Ever heard that? Okay, 3 of you. Clemency is basically not even forgiveness. It's not even trying to say what's wrong, what's right. It simply means the power of the judge, the person ruling the court, to just let go. Just let go. It might sound like, oh, there was injustice done, but this clemency, I believe, is also, I think it's rarely issued in the courts of law, when the other party decides to let go of the matter. So this clemency is very near to the energy of mercy, because it is through mercy that clemency is given, is transmitted. This energy of clemency, as said, is not about forgiveness, unforgiveness. It's not about justice. It's just simply letting go, setting the other party free. A lot of teachers talk about so-called bad karma in our past lives, in this life. We keep creating karma through a thought, thinking, action all the time, right? And it somehow returns back. That is the law. It's not trying to infuse fear. Some teachers said, oh, you're trying to infuse fear by telling people if you do bad, bad will come to you. Well, this is just the way it is. This is how the universal laws work. It's a capital F fear. Because if we don't fear God, the capital F fear God, we don't love God. And as simple as that, like in your own office, you have a boss, you have an organization, you have a certain degree of capital F fear, which is a healthy fear, like a healthy stress, right? So I don't want to go there. So the mercy, it is the energy of mercy which inspires clemency. This energy is pure letting go no matter what. I'm not having any words to describe right now, but it's just the way it is. I haven't worked with this energy a lot. This energy I've really found when I have worked in meditation with the laws of karma, especially Buddha Kuan Yin, white Tara, green Tara, medicine Buddha. They carry this amazing field of mercy. It's like your heart and itself simply open up right now, simply by calling upon these names. The energy of pure mercy. It's not the energy of pity, not at all. Pity is more of a, looking at someone else, the second party, as low, as insufficient, as disempowered or not empowered. However, mercy is really not looking into the field of duality. It's just letting it go. The law of karma says that whatever we want in life, we need to give out. So if you would like more of mercy in your own life, in your own areas of your life, then you can start with forgiveness. Forgiving others simply for the sake of doing capital B business with God. As much as God is all graceful, all merciful, God is also a very nice businessman if you would look closely from a higher perspective, from the soul's perspective. By forgiving others, you will be forgiven as well. As simple as that. Remember the Lord's Prayer as Christ said, Father, forgive us for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. He was transmitting one of the very deep universal teachings, the universal laws of the permanent hologram of God's rule, ultimate dominion. However, still you have issues with not being able to work. One statement that you can use while, combining prayer with forgiveness is, I forgive and release you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive and release you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive and release you for not being the way I wanted you to be. Repeating it until you feel guided to, there's a lightness in your being. It is a regular process. Sometimes we just have to do forgiveness again and again and again and again, until you reach a point where you can literally embody mercy, the energy of mercy, and you don't even have to do conscious forgiveness. The moment something is done unto you, it is totally taken care of by the universal laws. Now, this statement is something very abstract. Let's not go there. I'm still trying to ground here. Today's setting up of the grid is very, very high. So that's the energy of mercy. The third one is the vulnerability. It's not the small v vulnerability, it's the capital V vulnerability. Especially with men who are trained that they're not supposed to feel emotions. If they feel emotions or something, they would be termed as quote-unquote a crybaby. However, that's just an old paradigm where it said that women don't get angry, spiritual people don't get angry, men are not supposed to cry, etc., etc., etc. However, that yin-yang energies are already within us. The moment there is an imbalance, that automatically reflects in our life on all levels as imbalance. This topic of yin and yang is very vast. Don't wish to go there. So the capital V vulnerability is your strength to say, how do I define? Let's imagine a person who likes another person. Let's name them A and B. A likes B. All right. The person A is very fulfilled, very aligned, feels very complete in his or her own beingness. Yet this person feels a very strong soul connection, strong connection to the person B, and he wants to marry the person B. Okay. Now the person A is not so sure whether he or she will be accepted or rejected regarding the proposal, yet the person A goes anyway because that person A is willing to take that that rejection on a very healthy note. It's almost like, going to the interview, you know what you are capable of, and you know whether you're accepted or rejected for the job. That doesn't matter. It doesn't define your worth. That's a very corporate example, but I wanted to use this example of a lover because it's emotional. There's a lot of connection to it. So that is the capital V vulnerability. The small v vulnerability would be, let's say the person B rejects. The A would try to force and keep disturbing the person B or hurt the person B, etc., etc., etc. That's a small v vulnerability. That's where you cannot take the no. So this capital V vulnerability is also the emotional wealth. It's also, capital V vulnerability is also coming to me right now as the nakedness, where you are willing to show your personality, how you feel about a certain situation without trying to suppress it in the name of religion, in the name of spirituality, in the name of being sweet and nice all the time. And that too in a very proper manner. I don't know how to define this word proper, but in a very dignified manner, where you are able to speak out your feelings, but it's not that you're having a verbal diarrhea. One of my mentors would say that, a verbal some people suffer from a verbal diarrhea, where whatever that comes to their head or to the ego mind, they just spout it out, saying that I'm being naked, I'm being vulnerable. Oh, it doesn't work that way. This capital N nakedness, this capital V vulnerability is more about being willing to express that you are a human as well, being willing to embrace your human nature, basically being willing to convey, oh, this, I didn't like that. And just saying it out of no shame, no guilt, with words that are guided from the inner core of your heart, where you're not trying to hurt another person as well, but it's simply saying, we need to talk about it, and I don't think I liked it, or I just didn't like it. I hope you're able to understand. So that's the third, the capital V vulnerability. Another capital V vulnerability would be, in your own home, or with a company of like-minded souls, where you feel vulnerable to express your so-called secrets, where you trust each other, where it's almost like in your own home, you just sleep. You don't worry if someone is going to, I know it's going to be a very bloody example, but it's required here, where you sleep in your home without having the fear of someone trying to kill you, right? It's just not. However, many of us, because of vibrating at such high speed, a lot of you coming to the offices are star seeds. Our parents didn't have much idea what to do with us. It's not that it's trying to blame our parents, but our parents didn't have any manual on how to, bring up the baby, the starseed baby that you are, in terms of energy, in terms of sensitivity, etc., etc. And that somehow created misunderstanding among the family as well. So, first of all, know that whatever set of parents you have chosen is really your soul's choice. The second one is to regularly tune in a teacher on how to work with them. I'm not saying that all of us have or must be having issues with the parent energy, the parent archetype. But what I'm trying to convey here is that whatever they did to you was okay. And whatever they did to you was their best, not okay. Whatever they did to you was their best that they could offer to you as a starseed child. Yet they didn't have that in time manual. However, those of you who are being activated, remember of the starseed memories, you have the opportunity to parent your children in a new way. And even for the people who are young around you, they're younger than you, 5 years younger, 10 years younger, or even who are what they call as infant souls. How many have heard about the concept of infant souls? infant souls, young souls, old souls, two of you. An old soul is someone you can recognize in a very young chronological biological age. They have deep, profound wisdom. A young soul you can recognize is even when they're very old, they have their own things to work on. Right? Old souls also have their own lessons. That's very true. But it's just the experience, the data, the light information recorded in the soul, how much experience you have. Take a deep breath. So this capital V vulnerability for many of us was not found in the family, quote unquote. However, you can experience that by inspiring a circle in your own place, or maybe even online, just like we have done at Oasis, or you can contribute at Oasis by connecting with like-minded people, not out of that willingness to try to find a friend or a quote-unquote family, but more about connecting with that like resonating vibration, or like-minded, basically what you call it. That's where you have the capital V vulnerability. Taking a deep breath. And of course, we also experience so-called backstab, where this capital V vulnerability was not seen as proper or was misused. And that has also, anchored a strong energy of betrayal within our memories on many levels. However, we still need to work on that capital V vulnerability. How do you work on that? Again, these topics that I'm discussing are way vast. If it really inspires you, then do join us for the emotional wealth journey, right? The next one is the energy of love, the energy of this capital L love. It's not feelings or emotional sentiments. You see, in our culture, the emotions and feelings are not looked upon as proper. Sometimes they are looked upon as very weak, as small, be vulnerable, right? And sometimes these energies are not looked upon as proper, or especially with men or with women who have so-called quote-unquote responsibility. There's a difference between a crybaby and a person who is being willing to be authentic. This authenticity is not seen as proper by a lot of cultures. I'm not so sure in the West, but in the East as well, where, let's say again, the man is not supposed to cry. The woman is not supposed to express anger, things like that. That really blocks the flow of emotion. This restoration of the emotional energy is started to happen on a huge level in the year 2013, what many called as the restoration of the feminine. It is still going on. This feminine archetype still needs a lot of healing, but we can all start with our own self. How do you heal it? Tune within. Your inner teacher will guide you. Take a deep breath. This capital L love, however, is not masculine, is not feminine. It's completely coming out from the source. Although at a personality level, we do filter it out as coming from Divine Mother, and that's okay. But this capital L love is the very power to transform love into acts of service, acts of charity, acts of volunteering, acts of love, acts of friendships, acts of self-love. When we try to explain the word love, people say, oh, it means outside. No, you have to start first with yourself. That unconditional self-love, no matter what, where you are, where you're going, what you have been through, what people think about you. You are going to love yourself no matter what. That is a capital L, love. Sometimes people ask, so we will get stuck if we don't criticize ourselves. Well, you have criticized yourself for long. How about expressing some self-love and see what happens? There's more to the topic of love, but I will choose to stop here. This is another emotional wealth. And of course, the next one, gosh, we have spent almost 1 hour already. Grace. This energy of grace. This energy is very much in connection with the energy of mercy, very high vibrating. This is the energy of pure synchronicity. How many of you ever noticed that you were trying to find an answer, and somehow, even without trying, a friend or through someone else, you got the answer? How many of you ever noticed that? You were trying to find an answer, but you got it, right? Or you were thinking about buying that thing, or buying it at home, or renting an apartment, and you just got it without even trying to figure it out how, or through the left brain logical means. It just happened in the right place at the right time. The more we begin to embody the energy of light, the more we shall be able to embody the energy of grace. This energy of grace is pure sweetness. It does feel like a cakewalk, but it's not exactly a cakewalk. It's more like the more you open up to your divine child nature, the more this grace flows. This grace comes to me at times when, I have two things in my mind to buy, and actually I end up buying only one thing. I get the other thing free. Another one would be, maybe I go to a restaurant and it's a new restaurant. This happened with me, I guess, yes, only once at the time. Going to a restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant saying, oh no, you don't need to pay, just give us the feedback. It might sound like fairy tale, it might sound like, oh, it happens only with you. But it can happen with all. And it is this grace, I feel this energy of grace like a downpour of a rainfall is already there. A mother's guru, Shishima Anandamai, would say that grace is downpouring every single moment. Only the container has to be prepared. If the container has a hole, it will flow out. If the container is put upside down, it will not be received. And it will keep living in this illusion of the sky is falling. But when the container, if you look into that image of the physical alchemy, we have shown this making of the pottery, right? It's like the first step, creating the container, designing the container, that physical body, so that it is able to anchor the higher vibration from the next levels. So that grace is already flowing through and through. And I sense it at this point of my life. It's not even as just downpouring, but literally flowing through as being in the ocean of grace. In the religious cultures, the energy of Mother Mary is connected with grace. In the culture of Hinduism, Radharani is connected with the energy of grace. Let me share one story about grace. One of my cousins, he knew that I'm into all this energy healing and all these things. And he would regularly ask me to take care of the baby, the unborn baby. And I would just randomly say yes and would pray and then forget. This kept going on regularly. And one day I was having my lunch, just the regular lunch. I felt a suffocation. I felt a choking. And the moment I felt that while having my lunch, I had a knowingness that this is about the baby wanting to come out on that day. I call up my cousin. I say, I'm feeling the choking. The baby wants to come out. Have your wife see the doctor. And I repeated that at least 4 or 5 times. It was almost like a sci-fi movie where, someone who sees and is trying to warn with all the power he can. And I repeated that 7 times or so to my cousin. I said, don't ignore, don't ignore, don't ignore. The story continues. He asked his wife, are you feeling uneasy? The wife says, I'm feeling no pain, so let's not go to the doctor. And my cousin agreed on that. Claps. So, the neighbors of my cousin are Christian by religion, and the wife of the neighbor was planning to travel. But on that same day, she said to her husband, let me not travel. Our neighbor's wife is pregnant. I think she will need me. All right? Now, on that same day, that same night, my cousin's wife starts to have experience at labor pain. And of course, they rush to the doctor, and the Christian neighbors were the only ones who were kind of available at the time. They rushed into the hospital, had the baby. I don't know if it was cesarean or natural birth. I don't know. So anyways, the baby's out. The baby does not make a sound, is not crying. The mother panics, thinks that the baby is dead. After a while, the baby cries. The baby is alive. And this all happened in the midnight. And so my cousin calls up to my mom at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. apologizing for not heeding to the warning. This happens, it's also a big bash to my ego as well, saying that you're not the savior. If people want to listen, they listen. If they don't want to listen, they don't listen. And by the way, hearing the story, don't come up into my inbox trying to get your future out. I do readings once in 3 or 4 months, and my work has changed a lot, and connect with my YouTube channel. I never thought that I would be recording this particular story for public, but I think this required. It is inspired, so I'm recording it. All right? I'm a human as well. So coming back to the story, my cousin apologizes, and then I say to him, you know what? I asked Mother Mary to be with the child, and that's why he's saved. If it was not for Mother Mary, the baby would have been very, just not possible for the baby to live. I asked him to, offer some candles to the church of, Mother Mary there at his place. So he goes with his friends and offers candles more than what I asked. The story ends here. Now one more thing is here. The baby is named as Mihir. My cousin is not so much familiar with the Christian culture, religion, or how Mother Mary is connected with the song Amazing Grace. So the baby is named Mihir after a few months. And you know what Mihir means? Mihir means grace. Is it a coincidence? Is something planned? I don't know. But the story totally symbolizes the energy of grace. I hope that story tickles a part of you into opening your consciousness, yourselves, to the energy of grace. There are many, many stories of people. The entire plane crashed. Only one person left. Even from the 9/11 incident, entire building collapsed. This one person was surrounded by a veil of pure white light. That's grace. Now, people who died, it doesn't mean that they did not deserve grace, that they were kind of quote-unquote unholy, but grace works in mysterious ways. We just cannot understand it. Sometimes people ask, well, if grace is happening in people's life, why not in mine? My suggestion, well, start raising your frequencies. Start working. Start contemplating and meditating on the words love and service regularly. And don't try to find a fruit or like a reward of your salary by trying to meditate on that. Just keep on keeping on, keep on keeping on. Especially in the beginning, don't try to convert, quote-unquote, people. Just keep on doing it. And when that vibration has culminated powerfully in your very soul, that outbursts and explodes as health, abundance, prosperity, opportunities, healing, you will still experience the contrast, but you will experience more of the so-called, quote-unquote, the grace of life. Literally, people would see you and wonder, gosh, this person works so less and makes so much of money. And this person, because he or she makes so much of money, they're able to do charity. They look so graceful. They look so healthy. They look so filled with light and love. People would unconsciously and consciously would begin to send out that asking to the universe, Grace, I want that too. Grace, I want that. What is the secret of that? Which mantra should I do? What meditation should I do? So I hope this logical transmission embodies this consciousness of the emotional wealth, tickles your consciousness. Let's go ahead into our formal transmission. The formal transmission will be like a 10-minute or so. We already crossed the 1 hour mark, and we will keep it as the transmission. And of course, time doesn't matter. Allowing yourself to close your eyes, just basking in the sweetness of the story. These 5 points that we discussed: forgiveness, mercy, vulnerability, love and service. Love and grace. Are just few of the points. There's an entire ocean of the emotional wealth that awaits our harvest. Service is also emotional wealth. I'm guided for silent transmission. Visualizing golden pink light at your heart center, emanating powerfully. Drop all of your awareness into the golden pink light. You may want to lie down. Whatever thoughts they come up, allow them to flow. It's much more easier and faster for me to work in silence. Feel yourself merge with this purest golden pink light flowing through eternity. In a mind's eye, with a childlike heart, let go and let God. I may remain quiet. You may want to add that you are one with this ocean of golden pink or whitish pink light. Let go. Emotional wealth is the knowingness that Source is your savior. The Source is your friend. The Source is the source of all, everything that you will ever need. There's infinite abundance. Emotional wealth is the knowingness that the higher self is always guiding you, that the higher self is always protected and guided by the Spirit, by the love of God. Emotional wealth is the knowingness that the divine parent that you call as Source is there for you, is having your back, supporting you, guiding you with the tough love of the divine masculine energy and the unconditional love of the divine feminine energies. Allowing your DNAs to remember, to attune to that very field of grace, of love, pure celebration, the deliciousness of your experience in the universe, in all dimensions, not just the earth. Michelle Sustabora Istanebia Rodsai Mitsala Tustai Wrapping all awareness into your spine. Not so sure if you can hear the sound of the birds in my garden. After many days, they're here. During the entire lecture, I kept hearing my doorways as someone was knocking. We even had a bell, and yes, that was a real person. But universe has its own way of knocking at the door. This well-being. Feeling centered in your spine. The sweetness, deliciousness. Visualizing the sacred green light of the Ma emanating to the sphere around you, to the sphere surrounding this entire grid, integrating today's transmission deeply, completely, and permanently, and graciously, with joy, ease, and grace. Today's transmission was extremely high energy. For the next 24 hours, drink regular lots of water. Try to have light food if you are new to the energy. If you experience any kind of ascension symptoms like headache or a bit of nausea, just call upon your guides and in the being from the inner plane to guide the process, or perhaps call your I Am Presence to watch over it. We need to give our feedback to the spirit world as well. And may you carry this joy of creation into your heart and every single cell of your body and every single particle of your being. May you remember your connection to the heavens, which is right here, right now, with an infinite grace, that infinite love flowing through and through, not just like a rain, but flowing through and through like a river, like being in this ocean of light. And last but not the least, I request a special divine dispensation for this entire grid today, to be guided by the consciousness of Shambhala. You can choose to say a yes to it, only if you choose to this agreement, the soul agreement, working in service of the divine plan of absolute harmony. And if you might be feeling yourself expanded, you might continue to feel the changes even after days, weeks, and even months. This is a very powerful transmission. I pray that this gift will be utilized by many light workers who will continue to join through the MP3. Doesn't make much difference. I look forward to hearing your experiences. Means a lot to me. Feel free to add me at Facebook as Narmada Akshat. Thank you for an amazing yes to being yourself. Continue to dare to love the world, the creation, starting with yourself. I thank all the beings of light here. To the Supreme Essence, Divine Father, Divine Mother, our spiritual teachers, all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, holy saints, holy archangels, holy angels, Elohim masters, beings of light, visible and invisible helpers, and all the great, 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 great ones. Thank you all for your priceless blessings. May we learn to the school of grace. May we witness as an individual and as the collective mankind the power, the grace of grace. Deep in breaths, You may want to continue to bask in the sweetness of this energy, or if you choose to, you may wiggle your fingers and your toes, give yourself a great big hug, and open your eyes at your own pace. Remember to start with your regular daily activities after a bit while. Just be in the silence. It's highly recommended that you write down your experience in your private journal. It's not to be attached to the experience, but just anchoring more physically. We'd love to see your comments. If it's something urgent or something very private, feel free to drop me a message. Know that everything is read. I'm not able to respond to the comments personally. May the grace be with you. And so it is. Well, we almost went to like 1.5 hours. So thank you everyone for joining in. Have a blessed day, blessed noon, blessed evening, blessed night, wherever you are. If it's night time, you might have a bit of trouble going to sleep because of the high energy. Just use it wisely. Read your favorite book. Or maybe you may want to sleep. The response of the energy is very unique. Every individual is unique. It's not that how the energy is supposed to work. Just giving you a bit of idea into it. So thank you everyone for joining in. This is Narmada Akshat for the online Lightworkers Oasis, and see you all soon for our event. By the way, we do have a 6:30 class of the Angel Healing Journey. It's going to be the last day of the class as well. Remember to subscribe to the newsletter to be updated about the next journey. Thanks everyone for joining in. Blessed day, blessed night. Bye.
Thank you, Namada.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Namada.